All right, this is going to be my spoiler-filled discussion of the Two Towers of the Lord of the Rings series. So, right off the bat, my first note about this, again, spoiler warning for the whole series. If you haven't watched my first video about the Fellowship of the Ring, go watch that one. And yeah, let's get into it. So, again, basically how this works is I have a bunch of notes that I wrote while reading this story, and I'm basically just going to go through those notes and talk about my thoughts, and how I broke it down is into things I like and things I don't like. I think for this one, because I have a few things I didn't like, I'm going to kind of go back and forth to kind of keep it fresh. So first thing I have written down is I really enjoyed the return of Gandalf. It was great, and even though I knew it was going to happen, it still was great. I like the suspense and mystery about who the White Wizard was. Even though I know what was going to happen, I still questioned if the wizard watching Gimli, Aragorn, and Legolas was Gandalf or Sauron, and I thought that was great. Like I said in the previous video, Tolkien is great at writing mystery and suspense, and it was very suspenseful, even though I knew what was going to happen. He's just great at writing that, and I don't think, again, like I said in the last video, I don't think that is noted enough, how great he is at that. Overall, this section is also where I really start liking Merry and Pippin more. Before, they do kind of feel like background characters, and they still are secondary characters, but this section is really where their characters shine and where I really start appreciating them and enjoying them, I guess. I like the chase part of the story a lot. I think that's my favorite part of book 3, which is like the part that focuses on like Aragorn, Merry, and Pippin in the Two Towers. This chase part is my favorite part, and I enjoyed it. I like how Merry and Pippin handle it. It feels real. I feel scared for them. And then also like the valiance of Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, and their companionship was very inspiring and enjoyable, and I really felt their effort and care. It didn't feel like, okay, this is just some easy task. Like, I felt like, man, this is brutal how much they're running and chasing after these orcs. So I enjoyed that. I thought that was done really well. And it was also, again, enjoyable, kind of and entertaining watching them trying to unravel the mystery about what's happening. Especially after the orc, what is it called? An army? A squad? I don't know. After the orcs are killed and they don't find Merry and Pippin, and they're like, well, what the heck's going on here? And it was great. It was amazing to read. Theoden was established very well, namely after he is kind of brought out of his trance, I guess. And then Éomer was great too. I love both their characters. I thought they were established fantastically. I knew very quickly the types of people they are, and and of course this section is very important for what happens in the third book, establishing their two characters, because they're very important. After that point, I did not like book 3 that much, because the Battle of Helm's Deep was pretty hard for me to follow. It seemed overly complex, and it was the most difficult section of the whole Lord of the Rings. I could not follow what was going on, and that totally could be on me. I don't know. I didn't really like the Battle of Helm's Deep, and that totally could just be on me. It totally could be that I just didn't pay attention, but I don't know. I tried to listen to it again I tried to watch videos that explained what was happening, and it still just didn't. It just didn't hit for me. Um, I thought it was cool that the trees helped, but I just felt confused a lot, and yeah, totally could have been on me. Again, I don't know, but it was just not my favorite part of the story. My least favorite, honestly. Uh, I initially really liked the tree beard part. I really liked all that stuff, but at some point it kind of felt like it was dragging a little bit. Like I was kind of like ready for it to get on with it. But not too bad. I still really enjoyed it. I thought Treebeard and the Ents were fantastic and very, very interesting. And of course, the commentary about, the destruction of the natural world really shines here. And yeah, so that part, for that reason, it's very important. Also, just the Ents attacking Isengard, really cool, but just some parts felt like it was dragging a little bit. There was just a lot of back and forth travel uh, that was hard to follow. Like it's like, okay, they're going to Isengard, now they're going back, now they're going to Helm's Deep, now they're going back to Isengard, and I think that's what happened, but it was still kind of hard to follow at points, and I just kind of sometimes forgot which characters were where. I was like, oh, wait, I thought you were there, but no, you're actually here. And I thought this character was here, but no, they're actually there. And it just kind of got confusing for me sometimes. But yeah, that's all the like cons I have to say, all the things I didn't like. And like I said, that's all specific to book 3. And I actually really enjoyed the part with Frodo and Sam a lot more. But like I said, I enjoy the like chase mystery part of book 3, but overall I enjoyed book 4 quite a bit more. Um, I really like the emotion of Frodo and Sam and how that's displayed. I like Gollum. I think Gollum is a really, really great character. I think Gollum, I'll talk about this more later, but I think Gollum is one of my my most favorite aspects of the Lord of the Rings as a whole. I think he just a great character because I feel bad for him. I often feel really bad for him, and it's painful when he doesn't act well. I really want to see him be a better person, and seeing him not be is kind of sucks because I know he can be a better person. Frodo knows he can be a better person. Um, and the pity that Frodo has for him is just really beautiful. Frodo, um, kind of like Bilbo, initially sees him like as a monster, but then he realizes like Gollum is or Smeagol is a tragedy. It's not he's not someone to hate, but someone to feel pity towards, and that's really uh, that's really beautiful. And even though yeah, Gollum is despisable a lot of the time, he's still it's tragic. It's not he isn't evil. It's just tragic. And yeah, I really like how Tolkien handled that. I'll talk more about that later as well in the third book, or the third part, I guess. Now, here is we're in hot take time. Maybe this isn't a hot take, but time to talk about Faramir. Faramir. And so out of Aragorn, Boromir, and Faramir is the best. I like Faramir more than Boromir. I like Faramir more than Aragorn. By quite a bit. Even though he's not in the story that much, I just he Faramir is one of my most favorite characters in the Lord of the Rings, and I pick Faramir over Aragorn any day as a character I like more. Um, I like how he's very stern and yet he's kind. He's almost kinder than Aragorn. He's softer than Aragorn, and he cares about living things, and he doesn't want to kill unnecessarily. Uh, it's just he doesn't want violence. Um, I like how he isn't Frodo's friend immediately uh, either. Like, I like that there is tension initially and there's distrust and there's a lot of hesitation between him and Frodo and Sam. And when they eventually become friends, it's all the more satisfying and believable. I think it makes a lot of sense why Faramir wouldn't immediately be like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah, you're cool, you're cool." No, he is skeptical of Frodo, and rightfully so, and he wants information, and rightfully so. But there is kindness from the get go. Really, Faramir's orders initially were to kill anybody that is kind of trespassing, but he doesn't do that because he thinks maybe these people aren't what they seem, and there's like deeper meaning going on here. So yeah, I just really like Faramir. I really like the pain he has about Boromir's death, and he really loved his brother, but at the same time, he is not going to act like Boromir didn't have faults, and that's just, I feel like that's just really real. Uh, I think a lot of times in stories when characters die, they're kind of portrayed as like, oh, well, now that they're dead, they're perfect, but that's not true. And Faramir's kind of dual feelings about that is really realistic and more accurate to how people handle death. It isn't usually like, okay, this person was perfect. No, that is very rarely the case. And Boromir, as we know, is very flawed. And but at the same time, he still loved Boromir very, very much, and it's just so beautiful how that's explored. Um, and Faramir is just such an agreeable character too. It's just hard not to like him, but it's done in a way that doesn't feel boring because of the context of what's happening. Faramir is wiser and more human, in my opinion, than Aragorn. Maybe he's not wiser than Aragorn, but he's wiser in the sense that he feels more human to me. He feels less like a knightly, lordly, historic figure and more like a character to me. And that just, yeah, in that sense, he's wiser. He understands more what it's like to be like a human, I guess, in these difficult times, or a person in these difficult times. And he despises war. Aragorn, I mean, it's not really explored that much how Aragorn feels about war, but Faramir very distinctly does not like war, but he will take part to protect what he loves, because what else can he do? Even if he hates war, if he has to defend and fight to protect, that's what he's got to do. And yeah, I love that aspect of his character. He is not the and that's explained very specifically between him and Boromir. Boromir liked battle. He liked the sword. Faramir sees it as a necessity, not something to enjoy. And that just the exploration of those two characters, three characters really, but especially between Faramir. Am I saying it wrong? Faramir. Okay, I've been saying it wrong. Faramir. Not Faramir. Faramir. Dang it. I'm sorry. I mean, if you ask any of like my friends or anything, they'll tell you I'm terrible with character names. You're lucky I even remember all the characters. Anyway, Faramir. Yeah, I just like how the comparison and similarity but differences between Faramir and Boromir, specifically how they feel about war. And Faramir just seems so soft-hearted, but the world has hurt him, and it's brutal. So it's hard for him to be him in this world, and that's really tragic. And also, apparently, what I've heard. I guess there's a letter or something where Tolkien talks about how Faramir is the character he relates to most, and that's just really really evident to me. Like there's just a lot of soul in this like really short aspect of this character, the short like time that this character is in the story, and yeah, there's just a lot of like intent, maybe not intention, but just like heartfeltness that went into this character, and I just love him. One of my favorite characters. I'll stop there. I'm gonna gush about Faramir more later. Don't worry. Um, but of course, Fram, well, Sam and Frodo are amazing. I think this is the book where I really liked them and their friendship. I liked it before, but this is where I don't think anybody will disagree that this is where their friendship really shines, because things get so dark and desperate, and they carry themselves, they carry each other through it, and yeah, it's really beautiful. I think it's great. And then also this book 3 feels dark, but book 4 is really where things start feeling dark and hopeless for me. I really like I mentioned this in the first video, maybe even in the review video, but I really like how Tolkien uses the environment to portray the change in the world and the darkness. And kind of like I said in my review video, it makes sense why this would cause dark emotions from the characters. I think that's very, very understandable. If you're in a dark place, you're not going to feel great. And I think the way he did that is amazing. It's subtle, but it really, really hits deep for me. Like not like on a personal level, but I just mean like I really felt it. I really felt the darkness, and I think that's because of how subtle it is. Yeah, and he doesn't like shove it in your face, but it's very apparent how dark this world is in this area. And I didn't, honestly, I read this book before. Again, I read The Two Towers. This is my second time reading The Two Towers, but I didn't remember it feeling so hopeless and dark before. But yeah, like I said, I think it being subtle is really what sold it for me. But it isn't just grim, gritty, but and dreadful. There is hope. Despite the dread, there is hope, and the characters find that hope whatever way they can, and I think that's really beautiful, and it makes me hopeful, because if these characters can find hope in their situation, I think we can find hope in our situations. So that's great. Again, I really enjoyed the description of the scenery. I think Tolkien knew exactly what he was doing. I love the way he describes the flowers and the beautiful scenery and stuff. And that's very important because it helps contrast the more dreary scenery. If we didn't get the description of like the beautiful parts of Ithilien, we wouldn't understand, we wouldn't really feel as impacted by the darker parts. I think that stuff's done on purpose. Tolkien isn't just blabbering on about the scenery because he wants to. It is crucial to the story, and I think a lot of people, I don't know, maybe sometimes it's just people joking, but I think The Lord of the Rings would be lesser without that aspect of it, and I really appreciate how Tolkien handled that. It's amazing. Also, at the end, I thought Frodo was dead. I totally thought Frodo was dead. I knew he wasn't, but I was so confused because I'm like, wait, is Frodo? I hadn't read the third book, right? Honestly, I might not even finish the second book because I don't remember feeling this certain that he was dead. And I was totally like, yo, wait, is the movie that much different from the books? Is Frodo like dead? Yeah, and dude left it off there. Like, gee, well, actually, no, that's not true. No, at the end, it does. The orcs do mention that Frodo is alive, I think. Regardless, I thought he was dead. Sam left him and everything. And again, like I said before, Tolkien is great at writing suspense and mystery. So great that even though I knew what was happening, I started second guessing that I knew. And I was like, wait a second. He's dead. So, yeah, he needs more credit in that aspect, in my opinion. Fantastic. And the like mystery and surprise is just amazing. And yeah, it's great. I loved it. I still can't believe I thought Frodo was dead. Just I feel stupid for thinking that, but I think it just shows how like great Tolkien was as a writer all around. He could write the lore, he could write the mystery, he could write the suspense, he could write the emotion, he could write the scenery. Like, there's a reason he's viewed as a master, and he is, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's really all I gotta say. I am going to make the third video about this right now, but I'm going to leave this one off here. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know where you disagree or agree or whatever in the comments. I would love to have a discussion there. And yeah, do all the subscribe, like, and all that stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.